Welcome, foolish mortals, to Count Gauntly's Horrors from the Public Domain. I am your host, Count Simon Gauntly, and each episode I'll be leading you on a journey through the history of film. Specifically, we'll be exploring that eldritch abyss known as the public domain. These are films forgotten by time or abandoned by their creators. The strange, the horrifying, the poorly and cheaply produced. All of these are the purviews of the public domain. So what are we waiting for? Come, join me in my crypt. It's bigger on the inside. Come, join me.
There lived a man so long ago, Count Gauntly was his name. His horror host abilities had brought him wide acclaim. The people flocked from miles around each Gauntly movie night, not knowing that the films he showed infringed on copyright. Upon discovering this fact and learning it was true, an angry mob of lawyers formed with pitchforks, torches too. They tracked the Count and sought to stop his movie hosting ways, and torches blazing put an end to Gauntly's earthly days. But our man was too resilient to let death be the last word. He sat up upon his slab and vowed he must be heard. So he stocked his tomb with gadgets from the local studio, intent on showing movies on an awesome TV show. But he had to find a legal way, so Gauntly racked his brain. 'Twas then he learned of something called the public domain. Now here he is, the time has come, his dreams are coming true. Count Gauntly's here to share a film in hopes that you won't sue.
There, put it up there, get it all nice. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Count Gauntly's Horrors from the Public Domain. We've all gathered together here to celebrate another 4th of July here in the crypt. If you'll remember, last year we ran into a bit of a kerfuffle during this season when we almost came to blows with the glorious leader of East Tiberia. How was that? How did that come about?
Glorious leader agrees that maybe the American life suits Americans, but for us of higher intelligence in Tiberia, we value honor and hard working and strength. And that's why I am the leader of such a great country.
I see. Yes, it did lead to some conflict last year when we had to try to convince the glorious leader of the value of the American way of life, which we did. Benjamin Franklin showed us how to sell him on America, and I busted out some sweet performance abilities on the theremin. We've got some more musical performances later to come in the show. But peace has returned to the region of the crypt. And as such, we're just here to get along, really, have a good time together on the 4th of July.
Which, pardon me, but I've been wondering for the longest time, just how is it that you maintain all that? I mean, this is a wonderful underground realm that you have, but are you the leader of this realm, or do you serve under? How does this all work? Forgive me, please explain.
I would like to know this too.
Interesting question. Well, Ogrot, what would you say as far as what kind of government do we have here?
Gauntly certainly is no leader, but we make do with what we have. Agra slipped the shady man in the corner a few bucks or two, but overall we make do. Agra make do very well with the lack of government.
Yes, we get by I suppose, with what we have. But if we must have a government, I don't know. What would you recommend? I suppose I'm open to suggestions.
It should be government like mine. Rule the entire realm as you see fit. I make sure that every school and every municipal eating facility is garnered to appreciate my glorious reign and to make sure that the citizens are reminded of who is in charge.
So state control of the facilities. That's interesting. What are the benefits of that? A system where what the government says goes applies to everybody, everything.
A system of efficiency. When you mandate a project, people get it done. And if citizens don't survive the project, then they weren't strong enough to survive in the country anyway.
It's interesting. Maybe it's something we should try out, you know? Try a system similar to East Tiberia. By the way, what do they have going on in West Tiberia?
We don't talk about West Tiberia.
Fair enough. So they don't play by your rules, but your rules work for you.
Exactly. My rules work for everyone.
What do you think, Ograt?
Ograt don't think Bernino's gonna like that very much.
Why might he not like it?
Well, as Glorious Leader was saying, people die left and right and no one seems to give a rat's.
Perhaps not. And but I think it's worth a try. Definitely worth considering. So we're going to check out a little demonstration of the kind of government described by the Glorious Leader in a film called Make Mine Freedom. We're going to examine the pros and cons of the totalitarian system, the state-controlled government, and we're going to see whether it might just work here in the crypt. So here's that for you now.
America is many things to many people. To a 17-year-old kid, it's the malt shop on the corner. To Grandpa, it's the front porch in the cool of the evening. To Mother and her family, it's church on Sunday morning. And to Dad, it's his favorite relaxation. It's the Cracker Barrel philosophers in Crabtree Corners. And it's the tycoons in Wall Street. It's all races, creeds, and religions. It's freedom to work at the job you like. Freedom of speech and to peaceably assemble. Freedom to own property. Security from unlawful search or seizure.
Where's your warrant, Flatfoot?
The right to a speedy and public trial. Protection against cruel punishments and excessive fines. The right to vote. And to worship God in your own way. It is these freedoms that have made America strong.
Okay, so we got our freedom. But management's lousing up everything.
Labor is at fault. It's ruining the country.
My constituents, as your elected representative, I can assure you Labor's right. Management's right. I'm strictly neutral.
Labor, management, politicians, phooey. They can't tell corn from oats.
Work! Hurry, step right up, folks. Here's the answer to your problems. Dr. Utopia's sensational new discovery, ism. Ism will cure any ailment of the body politic. It's terrific. It's tremendous. Once you swallow the contents of this bottle, you'll have the bountiful benefit of higher wages, shorter hours, and security. Enormous profits, no strikes. Remember, you're the big boss. Government control, no worry about votes. Name your own salary. Bigger crops, lower costs. Why, ism even makes the weather perfect every day. And now then, because we are introducing this amazing item for the first time in this country, it isn't going to cost you 1 cent. All you have to do is sign this little scrap of paper, and you get your bottle absolutely free.
I hereby turn over to ISM Incorporated everything I have, including my freedom and the freedom of my children and my children's children, in return for which said ism promises to take care of me forever.
I was here first. Get out of the way.
Pardon me. Pardon me.
And who are you, my good man?
I'm John Q. Public.
Ah, my fine friend, you're just in time to share this generous and gigantic offer. Sign right here.
Mind if I read it first?
Hurry up,
Father, to me.
I was here first.
Keep your shirts on, boys.
No, including my freedom. Freedom? Well, sign away my freedom. Why, this is ridiculous.
Don't be corny, brother.
Sure, our system of free enterprise isn't perfect. But before we throw it away for some imported double talk, let's turn the clock back a few years to see what it's done for us. For example, back in the 1890s, Joe Dokes was just a guy who liked to tinker around his barn. Some people thought Joe was lazy. Some even thought he was nuts. But one day, he had an idea. And because he was free to dream his dream and tinker, Joe had a chance to make something of himself and his idea. So, of course, some people didn't think so much of Joe's idea. But that didn't stop him. So Joe got some money from young Aunt Minnie and Uncle Angus and Grandpappy and Mr. Titus. When Joe's friends and relatives used their savings to help him buy tools and property, they were capitalists. Don't blush, folks. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Now, naturally, Joe needed some help. So he hired Willie Lumpkin, who was out of work anyway, and before long, Willie had the know-how and became skilled labor. Because capital, management, and labor worked together, Joe's idea grew. It grew and did things even he never dreamed of. Today, the automobile industry provides millions of jobs that never existed before. And remember, this is a story of only one industry. There are thousands more scattered all over the United States whose history of development is pretty much the same. We've built a country under the American system that sends more young people to high school and college than all the rest of the world combined. Why, even in the Depression, our wages bought more food, clothing, travel, and entertainment than the wages of any other people in the world. Our country has a national income equal to the total national incomes of any other 6 nations in the world. With only 7% of the Earth's we drive 70% of the world's automobiles. That's just a sample of the things the capitalistic system has given us in only 160 years. Before signing up, you boys ought to try a little taste of Dr. Ism's formula to see what you'd get in exchange for your freedom. Go ahead, try it.
You can't do this to me! I'll strike!
The state forbids strikes.
Wait till the Union hears about this!
Ah, yes, the Union. Welcome to our ranks, number 1313.
I'll take this case to the Supreme Court.
The state is the Supreme Court. Our decision is as follows. No more private property. No more you.
The farm vote will put a stop to this.
Farmers don't vote anymore.
What'll they do for seed next year?
You won't have to worry about next year. The state will do your planning from now on.
We must fight to regain our freedom, or everything is lost. Everything!
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
When anybody preaches disunity, tries to pit one of us against the other through class warfare, race hatred, or religious intolerance, you know that person seeks to rob us of our freedom and destroy our very lives. And we know what to do about it.
Now, gentlemen, no violence, please. Don't throw those bottles. Don't throw those bottles. No! Oh, no! No! Hey! Oh! Oh! Hey! Oh!
Working together to produce an ever greater abundance of material and spiritual values for all. That is the secret of American prosperity.
Oh my. That didn't make a state-controlled way of life seem appealing at all.
Not in the least. And you know what? I will tell you why.
Well, yeah, it looked like there were a lot of problems with that. What were some of the weaknesses?
Clearly, the people need to have a vote. It's quite that simple. I mean, if you don't have the people voting, how is it that they're going to feel that they're participating a part of something?
Yeah, nobody got to be heard. Their voices were oppressed. You know, labor wasn't happy. The bosses weren't happy. The politicians and the farmers weren't happy because everything just came down from the top. It was mandated, it was set.
Exactly. See, where I come from in my lands, we vote on everything. From the day that you're born, what job you do, everything is put to a vote by the people. And I think it works out quite well.
All right. And how did you come to be governor?
I'll give you 3 guesses.
Voting.
See, and that is 3 votes. By popular demand, that makes that vote the correct one.
So that makes it valid. Interesting. And how do you go about convincing people to vote for you?
Well, about twice a month, everybody comes together and votes exactly what needs to be voted on. It gets in and of itself and simply sustains itself. Just voting upon voting, and if anyone has an issue, put it to a vote, then we figure out what to do about it.
That sounds good. What do you think of that, glorious leader?
Completely inefficient. Why should citizens determine how they should live? They should be dictated on what they should eat, where they should live, what they should learn, what they should do for work. Voting is just completely unnecessary.
Does this voting take a lot of time, Thelonious?
Not if we vote for it to be much faster. It's as simple or as complicated as it needs to be. That is why it is so perfect.
I see. You vote on exactly how long the voting is going to take and exactly how it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, once you get everybody's input, which doesn't happen in the state-controlled system, you know it's fair, you know it's balanced, you know it's what the people want.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be what we have to try here in the crypt. You know, maybe we don't want socialism, we don't want a state-controlled system, maybe democracy, controlled by the people.
That has my vote, I can tell you that much.
It may well have mine as well. And so let's see a film which demonstrates a democratic system. It's called Popeye for President. And so let's check that out, see whether democracy might be what we need here in Subterranea among the ghouls.
And don't forget, folks, when you goes to the polls today, a vote for Popeye means free ice cream for all the kiddies.
All right, men, step right over here and get your free cigars.
And what we need is bigger elephants in all our zoos. Oh, my gosh.
Now, just Just remember your old pal Bluto at the polls today, fellers. And there's an extra cigar for each and every vote you give me. Yes, sir.
And furthermore, I promises 2 cans of spinach for every pot. Here's me past record, folks, which speaks for itself.
You double-crosser. Steal my voters, will you? That winning vote. Guess I'll do over the White House in canary with green trim.
Get off the road, son. You're blocking traffic.
Finish my chores.
Miss Oil, I'd like you to vote for me for president.
If you want a good-looking guy in the White House, vote for me, babe.
I can't go to the polls till I get the wood all chopped for the winter.
No sooner said than chopped, darling.
That vote is mine.
Votes for me?
Well, the field still needs plowing.
Okay, Olive. All done. Now to the polls.
Oh, I almost forgot. That hay must be put in the hayloft.
Chores are all finished, Olive. Shall we goes to the polls?
Popeye, I'm casting my vote for you.
Let's go, Toots. You're voting for me.
You, I'm not voting for.
Oh, yes, you are.
I'll never, 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 ever vote for you.
Get in there, babe,
So that was democracy. What'd you think, glorious leader?
It proved my point exactly. Everyone was just yelling and screaming about nothing at all. All that mattered was that who won. And really, does that make it any different from my nation?
Well, yes, it certainly seemed in that film like the candidates, Popeye and Bluto, were more interested in winning at all costs. They were involved in mudslinging and promise-mongering, just being obsequious to the voters, specifically to win, without caring about the issues. What do you have to say to that, Thelonious?
I do admit that it's not perfect, but, you know, that's how everything starts, really. I mean, you know, you have your problems, but then you vote, you change, and you move on. I mean, it's at least a good start. I'd like to believe they had a good time while doing it.
So you think that even though they're invested in winning, the will of the people still comes out in the end?
I think it should be held high above anything else. It comes down to the people.
Interesting. So we've got some people here, right? What do we do on this show that the people participate in? We watch movies. We watch old films, old public domain films. And so, you know what? Popeye and Bluto made me a little bit suspicious, a little bit wary of the process of democracy, but I think it's still worth a shot. You've convinced me. And so we're going to put the next movie that we watch to a vote. So let's all hear some votes for movies. Let's hear it.
Hunt for Red October.
The
About a
King
boy.
and I.
Sodom, 120
A Muppet
Days.
That
Christmas
movie with the fish.
A fish named Wanda.
I think it might have been.
Pacific Rim.
Godzilla.
Now everybody needs to vote, so let's get it all at once. Come on.
Godzilla.
Fantasia.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oblivion.
This is a lot of suggestions. Let's
Space Odyssey.
Antichrist.
Space Odyssey. Oh, ooh, that carrot movie.
Torture Chamber.
With Carrot
Panic
Top.
Room.
Comedy Central presents Will Ferrell.
Ooh, I love that one.
So it looks like we got a little bit of agreement. Anything over here?
Blue Planet?
Ugh.
It sounds like a lot of possibilities there, but I don't know if any decision got made. You know what? I'm confused because so many different possibilities, so many different candidates for us to choose from. Do it one more time, all at once. I think I gotta hear it.
The Pianist.
Transformers.
The original Mickey
Saving
Mouse.
Private
Torture
Ryan.
Room 2.
Hostel.
Hostel 2.
Specifically.
Toy Story 2.
Oh, Toy Story 3. It was
Beauty
better.
and the Beast.
Nemo Filet.
Aladdin.
Oh, this is too hard. This isn't gonna work. Too many answers coming from all over the place, and I don't know how to decide. You know, that was one benefit of the totalitarianism, was that at least decisions got made, at least progress got made. How is this ever going to sort itself out?
If this was your government, you could just say whatever movie you wanted, and it would be law.
You can roughly locate any community in the world, somewhere along a scale running all the way from democracy to despotism. One at the democracy end, another somewhere in the middle, and a third. Let's find out about despotism. This man makes it his job to study these things.
Well, for one thing, avoid the comfortable idea that the mere form of government can of itself safeguard a nation against despotism. Germany, under President Hindenburg, was a republic. And yet in this republic, an aggressive despotism took root and flourished under Adolf Hitler. When a competent observer looks for signs of despotism in a community, he looks beyond fine words and noble phrases.
Which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Many observers have found that two workable yardsticks help in discovering how near a community is to despotism: the respect scale and the power scale.
A careful observer can use a respect scale to find how many citizens get an even break. As a community moves towards despotism, respect is restricted to fewer people. A community is low on a respect scale if common courtesy is withheld from large groups of people on account of their political attitudes, if people are rude to others because they think their wealth and position gives them that right, or because they don't like a man's race or his religion. Equal opportunity for all citizens to develop useful skills is one basis for rating a community on a respect scale. The opportunity to develop useful skills is important, but not enough. The equally important opportunity to put skills to use is a further test on a respect scale. A power scale is another important yardstick of despotism. It gauges the citizens' share in making the community's decisions. Communities which concentrate decision-making in a few hands rate low on a power scale and are moving towards despotism. Like France under the Bourbon kings, one of whom said, "The state, I am the state." Today, democracy can ebb away in communities whose citizens allow power to become concentrated in the hands of bosses.
What I say goes, see? I'm the law around here.
The test of despotic power is that it can disregard the will of the people. It rules without the consent of the governed. Look beyond the legal formalities of an election in measuring a community on the power scale to see if the ballot is really free. If the citizens can vote only the way they're told, a community approaches despotism. When legislatures become ceremonial assemblies only and have no real control over lawmaking, their community rates low on a power scale. In a downright despotism, opposition is dangerous, whether the despotism is official or whether it is unofficial.
The spread of respect and power in a community is influenced by certain conditions, which many observers measure by means of the economic distribution and information scales.
If a community's economic distribution becomes slanted, its middle-income groups grow smaller, and despotism stands a better chance to gain a foothold. Where land is privately owned, one sign of a poorly balanced economy is the concentration of land ownership in the hands of a very small number of people. When farmers lose their farms, they lose their independence. This one can stay on, but not as his own boss anymore. To the extent that this condition exists throughout a nation, the likelihood of despotism is increased. In communities which depend almost entirely on a single industry, such as a factory or mine, maintaining economic balance is a challenging problem. If this condition exists over the nation as a whole, so that the control of jobs and business opportunities is in a few hands, despotism stands a good chance. Another sign of a poorly balanced economy is a taxation system that presses heaviest on those least able to pay. A larger part of a small income is spent on necessities such as food. Sales taxes on such necessities hit the small income harder. In the days of the salt tax, feudal despotisms were partly sustained by this and other effects. A community rates low on an information scale when the press, radio, and other channels of communication are controlled by only a few people, and when citizens have to accept what they're told. In communities of this kind, despotism stands a good chance. See how a community trains its teachers.
Bear this in mind. Young people cannot be trusted to form their own opinions. This business about open-mindedness is nonsense. It's a waste of time trying to teach students to think for themselves. It's our job to tell them.
And when teachers put such training into practice, despotism stands a good chance. These children are being taught to accept uncritically whatever they're told. Questions are not encouraged.
How can you ask such a question? Have you got a textbook?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it say here that our law courts are always just?
Yes, ma'am.
Then how dare you question the fact? Sit down.
And so we aren't surprised when...
But it must be true. I saw it in this book right here.
And if books and newspapers and the radio are efficiently controlled, the people will read and accept exactly what the few in control want them to. Government censorship is one form of control. A newspaper which breaks a government censorship rule can be suspended. It is also possible for newspapers and other forms of communication to be controlled by private interests.
I thought I told you to kill that story. It'll cost us a lot of advertising.
If that story goes out, I quit.
All right.
What sort of community do you live in? Where would you place it on a democracy-despotism scale? To find out, you can rate it on a respect scale and a power scale. And to find out what way it is likely to go in the future, you can rate it on economic distribution and information scales. The lower your community rates on economic distribution and information scales, the lower it is likely to rate on respect and power scales, and thus to approach despotism. What happens in a single community is the problem of its own citizens. But it is also the problem of us all, because as communities go, so goes the nation.
Everybody's saying a million things. You know, I was kind of afraid when I was the Count that maybe I was being a despot. Maybe everything was just coming from the top down, being controlled by me. And I thought maybe that wasn't the way to do it. But this doesn't seem to be getting anywhere either. What do you think, Ograt?
Bernino deserves a vote too.
Deserves to have his voice heard. But even if he was just squeaking, adding to the noise, would that accomplish anything? Would that get the show made? Would that get...
He would at least think his voice was getting heard, which is really all that matters in the end.
See, at least he would be happy, and as long as everybody has a chance at being happy, I see it's only being fair.
Does a rat deserve happiness? He's just an ugly vermin.
This is very deep metaphysical stuff, and it requires some heavy thinking. So I think before a final judgment is made, I have some heavy thinking to do. So me, you, Ograt, Bernino, we got to take a walk. We got to do some thinking. Let's reflect before we come to a final answer on what's going to govern the crypt.
a decision. Bernino, would you like to tell them?
Maybe they don't speak rat, but yes, a decision has been made by us. We made it. This decision was made by us. And we have finally chosen what system of government will reign in the crypt. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Yes. I know you're both deeply invested in this issue. And we've come to a conclusion that I hope will please everyone. Now, in the totalitarian system, decisions get made. Things change one way or the other. They get done, indeed. But the individual voices aren't heard. And in democracy, voices are always heard. Maybe too many voices, all at the same time. There's a lot of decisions to get made, and there's also the opportunity for people to focus on the wrong things. People overvalue obsequiousness, trying to win over their voters with promises, and devaluing their critics' opinions by mudslinging and things like that, name-calling. And maybe progress doesn't get made just because there's so many decisions all at the same time. And so we have finally ruled on what we're going to adopt, and I will tell you right now, I am going to still be the Count. I know it doesn't seem like that big of a ruling, but it is, and hear me out. Because, yes, decisions need to get made. If everybody is shouting out movie titles all at once, nothing gets picked, and we have to show films here in the crypt because what we value above all, our key governing principle here in Subterranea, is the freedom of the public domain. You see, the public domain makes these films available to everyone, not just to me, to everyone in crypts throughout the world, sharing these films, sharing these shorts, sharing these cartoons. The voices are heard because we share them here. And so beyond that, the system of government doesn't really matter.
Bah!
So it doesn't please everyone, I suppose. But what do you think?
I think
Governor
it's
Thelonious?
fair enough. After hearing that, in my kingdom, I would vote for you, for sure.
Ah. Well, you don't have to, because I'm here to stay.
Ogrod would like to say, for the record, Ogrod could have been Count, but Ogrod stepped aside for Gauntly.
And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Ogrod. We know where we belong and what roles we are best suited for. And so we're going to celebrate the 4th of July as best we can, together, all at once. I'm sure we can get the glorious leader to come back before too long. See, he's interested. And so we're going to start things off. We're going to kick it off with a musical performance. Happy 4th of July to all of you. Hopefully you'll sing along at home. I think we got some good stuff for you ahead in our 4th of July celebration. Got that coming up right now. Excellent.
In 1492, Christopher Columbus embarked on a perilous voyage to find a shorter trade route to India, but inadvertently discovered the New World.
Land ahoy!
Is it true the Earth is really round?
Say, Chris, what's with you and Queen Isabella?
No comment.
Among our earliest settlers were the Pilgrims, about whom many romantic stories have been written. Perhaps the best known of these is The Courtship of Miles Standish.
Hello, Priscilla. I'm here to propose marriage to thee in behalf of Miles Standish.
Why don't you speak for yourself, John?
Well, I like her.
The leader of the early Dutch settlers was Peter Stuyvesant, a brave and fearless fighting man. Due to the efforts of these hardy pioneers, the barren coastal wilderness was soon replaced by our 13 original states. The great scholar Benjamin Franklin demonstrated that electricity was present in the atmosphere by attracting lightning to a metal key.
Bah, my experiment is a failure.
Another milestone in American history occurred in 1848, when James W. Marshall discovered gold in California.
Eureka! Gold! I'm rich!
This country made tremendous progress in the realm of communication when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone.
Hello? Hello?
Deposit 5 cents for another 3 minutes, please.
All that our pioneer forefathers sought to achieve is best symbolized by the Statue of Liberty, a Yankee Doodle sweetheart.
Hello, everybody. Let's all get friendly and sing that well-known favorite, Yankee Doodle Boy. Just follow the bouncing ball.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real-life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
Oh, that was just dandy. Now, everybody sing.
I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real-life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. A real-life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
And of course, no 4th of July celebration is complete without some food. Now, watermelon is traditional, but I just thought that was too pedestrian to match the grandiosity of this occasion. You know, we've come to terms, chosen a system of government, so I have a 27-pound jackfruit here that I've purchased. I think it'll be basically the same. You think? I think it'll do us well. It'll suit the purpose. And so we're gonna all share that together. I'm gonna let Ogrot do the honors. Set it down right here, and have at it, man. Oh, he's done it! Look, behold! Yeah! There we go. Show the camera. Show the folks at home. Breathe it in. Here, everybody partake. Here you go. Enjoy that. I'll get my slice too. Here, Ogrot. Hoist that melon high. Hoist it. This melon. Cheers. Yes! Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is Count Gauntly signing out. Come back next time. Pleasant nightmares.